phones. Babylons can't crack the code.
The NFL Combine has officially come and gone, as we got to see some of the top prospects heading into the 2022 NFL Draft and seeing what they were like in a Combine setting. In today's video, I am going to be talking about 5 underrated players heading into the 2022 NFL Draft. This upcoming NFL Draft might be one of the deepest classes that we've seen as of recent, as a bunch of people that took their extra year of eligibility from 2020 are now going to be in this draft. And this draft up and down is just overall a really good class, and we could see some real steals in the late round and even undrafted free agents. Before I move on with the video, remember to smash that like button and subscribe if you haven't already, as we are on the road to 10K. Now let's get into it. The first player that I have in today's video is Texas Tech wideout Erik Ezukanma. In his career as a Red Raider, he had 138 receptions for 2,165 yards, averaging about 16 yards per reception and 15 total touchdowns through the air. Ezukanma in his career at Texas Tech was their top receiver primarily while he was there, and someone that was always a reliable target. Even in his final years of the Big 12, he was seen as one of the top Big 12 receivers in the conference, and he was always someone that could have a big game at any moment. He's not one of the top rated receivers heading into this draft. This receiving class for this 2022 NFL Draft is very deep and it's very good. To be a top 10 receiver in this class, it is something that is extremely hard to be. But Ezukanma, in my opinion, is going to be one of the top receivers from this class. He has everything that you want in a receiver. He is a reliable receiver with good hands. He has speed, he has size, and he has the physicality to be a good receiver on the next level. And I think he's going to be a sleeper pick and someone that is very underrated right now. On to the next underrated player I have is Kennedy Brooks, running back from Oklahoma. In his career as a Sooner, he rushed the ball for 472 times, rushed for 3,320 yards, averaging 7 yards per carry, and 31 total touchdowns on the ground in his career as a Sooner. Kennedy Brooks as a player is kind of interesting, as he was always consistent and reliable at Oklahoma. Every season he was playing, he had over 1,000 rushing yards, and the lowest touchdown season he had on the ground was 6 touchdowns, and that was in 2019. All the other seasons he played in, he had over 10 rushing touchdowns on the ground, and he never averaged less than 6 yards a carry in a season, which is honestly insane. And although people try to say Kennedy Brooks is slow, even though in fact the guy is pretty dang fast, he's just a really patient running back. He waits for the holes to open up, and he just attacks them. He's seen by some as a top 10 running back in the draft, while by some others, he's seen as just outside the top 10 in his position. Either way, he's likely going to be a mid to late round pick, but he's a guy who could be a sleeper pick in this draft, and I think he's underrated with everything he's shown at Oklahoma. I feel like he can translate it well to the NFL level. On to the next player, sticking with the offensive side of the ball, but this time going to the FCS level. We have wide receiver from North Dakota State, the powerhouse on the FCS level, Christian Watson. Now in his career with North Dakota State, he had 105 receptions for 2,140 yards and 14 total touchdowns in his career through the air, while averaging over 20 yards per reception. He is coming off his biggest season yet of his college career, as in the 2021 campaign he had 43 receptions for 801 yards, 7 touchdowns, averaging about 19 yards per reception. He also had a strong showing at the NFL Combine and the Senior Bowl. He is a taller receiver, coming in at 6'4", 208 pounds, runs a speedy 4.36 40-yard dash, can jump out the gym with a 38.5-inch vertical, and the guy has a lot of potential down the road. He's in a stacked receiving class like Ezukanma, so he's not seen as a top 10 guy. but the guy has a lot of potential to be a big-time player in the NFL, and some even believe he's the best receiver to come out the FCS level going into an NFL draft since Cooper Kupp. Now on to the next player, switching over to the defensive side of the ball. I have Travis Jones, defensive tackle from Connecticut. In his career at UConn, he had 134 total tackles, 47 of them being solo, 19 tackles for loss, 8.5 sacks, and 1 fumble recovery. Although UConn football has not exactly been in the best state as a football program, these last few seasons, something for sure is that Travis Jones was a baller there and was a bright spot for their program. Travis Jones is a very big defensive lineman, coming in at 6'4", 325 pounds, and the guy can move too, running a 4.92 40-yard dash, which honestly is insane for someone of his size. That's very good. And it's not even just that, the guy's draft stock has been increasing a lot lately, as the guy was dominant at the Senior Bowl and he just put on a clinic at the Combine. There are some things that he does need to improve on as a player, but he is likely going to be a day 2 pick in the 2022 NFL draft, and in my opinion, I think he's going to be an immediate impact player depending on the team and situation he will be in 2022. On to my last underrated player that I have in today's video. Sticking with defense, I have Cameron Thomas, defensive lineman from San Diego State. In his career at San Diego State, Cameron Thomas started off as a defensive tackle before moving to defensive end, in which he had more success at, but he had success at both defensive tackle and defensive end, showing his versatility. In his career as an Aztec, he had 155 total tackles, 71 of them being solo, 39 tackles for loss, 20 sacks, 2 pass deflections, and 1 forced fumble, and he's coming off his best season yet, where he had 71 total tackles, 20.5 tackles for loss, 10.5 sacks, and 1 forced fumble, and was even the 2021 Mountain West Conference Defensive Player of the Year. He is currently seen as a mid to late rounder, as he's not really exactly looked at as a top defensive lineman right now, but people do think he has the potential to be a future star in the league if he develops the right way, is put in the right system, and puts on more mass and just tunes up some things in his game. He's very versatile and has all the tools to be a great defensive lineman, but he does need to develop on some things in his game first. But he has all the intangibles to be a great defensive lineman in the NFL. Well guys, if you made it this far in the video, drop something down in the comment section below if you want to see more videos like this where I talk about underrated players in this upcoming NFL draft. And before you head out, remember to smash that like button, turn on those post notifications, and subscribe if you haven't already. B. Kelly out.